The late Jurassic forest is thick with tension. A Dryosaurus, small and fast, darts through the ferns, but it's already been marked. The hunter is a flash of motion, lower to the ground than the giants of this age, but brutally efficient. It closes the gap, a specialized predator built for this very moment. It is a killer living in the shadows of titans. This is not a monster. This was a living animal, fighting for survival. In this dossier, we will move beyond the bones to resurrect its world. This is Ceratosaurus, the living dossier. Let's journey back to a world where the past is reborn. As we bring the Ceratosaurus into focus, our data overlay reveals the vital statistics of this unique carnivore. Its very name, Ceratosaurus, means horned lizard, a direct reference to the striking crest that dominates its skull. This was not one of the titans of its era. Our 3D size comparison shows it stretching up to 22 feet, 7 meters long, and weighing around 1 ton. This made it a mid-sized predator, dwarfed by the contemporary Allosaurus it shared its territory with. It thrived in the late Jurassic, approximately 150 million years ago, stalking the floodplains and forests of what is now North America and potentially Europe. The fossil record confirms its niche, a specialized carnivore, perfectly adapted for a world defined by giants. Its classification as a ceratosaurid places it on a different evolutionary branch than the Allosaurs it competed with. To resurrect the Ceratosaurus, we must first resurrect its world. Our reconstruction transports us to the Morrison Formation of the late Jurassic. This was not a tranquil forest. It was a dynamic, dangerous, and semi-arid landscape, defined by vast floodplains, seasonal rivers, and forests of conifers, ginkgos, and tree ferns. As this map illustrates, this ecosystem stretched across what would become the western United States. This was a land of giants. The ground shook under the footsteps of colossal sauropods like Diplodocus and Brachiosaurus, animals so vast they were walking ecosystems in themselves. Alongside them moved the iconic Stegosaurus, an armored fortress whose presence defined the mid-level herbivore niche. This environment, teeming with life, was a predator's paradise, but it was also fiercely competitive. The fossil record reveals a complex hierarchy. While smaller predators snatched insects and lizards, the skies were patrolled by pterosaurs. But the real conflict was on the ground. Ceratosaurus was not alone. It shared every riverbank and forest clearing with the apex predator of the age, Allosaurus. Allosaurus was larger, more numerous, and the undisputed king. This single fact is the key to understanding Ceratosaurus. It wasn't the lion, it was the leopard, forced to survive in a world ruled by a more dominant killer. Its entire life story, its anatomy, and its hunting strategy were all shaped by the enormous shadow cast by Allosaurus. This is the anatomy of a specialist, a creature designed to thrive in the gaps left by the apex. When we deconstruct the Ceratosaurus, we find a machine built for a very specific type of warfare. It was more sinuous than an Allosaurus, a long, flexible body held lower to the ground, a profile perfectly suited for moving through the dense undergrowth of the Morrison's riverine forests. But the real analysis begins with the skull. It is impossible to miss the feature that gives this dinosaur its name, the prominent horn on its snout, with 2 smaller ridges above the eyes. For decades, this was imagined as a weapon, a battering ram. But the fossil evidence contradicts this. As our 3D model reveals, the horn itself was a thin, blade-like core of bone. It was likely covered in keratin, making it larger in life, but it was too fragile for combat. We will explore its true purpose later. The real weapon, the business end of this skull, was its mouth. The teeth of Ceratosaurus are terrifying. When we compare them to its skull size, these are disproportionately huge, long, blade-like, and deeply rooted. They are significantly larger and more like daggers than the shorter, more numerous steak knife teeth of its rival, Allosaurus. Our biomechanical analysis reveals why. Ceratosaurus didn't have a bone-crushing bite. It was a slasher. Its neck muscles were powerful, and this 3D animation shows how it would have driven those massive teeth deep into the flank of its prey, then used its flexible neck to pull back, letting the teeth do the work, creating catastrophic, bleeding wounds. Moving down the chassis, our analysis reveals another surprise: the arms. Unlike the famously small arms of later tyrannosaurs, the arms of Ceratosaurus were well-developed and powerful, retaining 4 clawed digits, a primitive but effective trait. They were not for walking, but for grasping. This was a predator that could hold its victim, a small ornithopod or a juvenile sauropod, while those devastating teeth went to work. This combination of grasping arms and a deep slicing bite defines its niche. This was not a hunter of 80-ton sauropods. This was a specialist, an ambush predator built to take down prey its own size or slightly larger, and to do it with lethal efficiency. This specialized anatomy defined the daily struggle of Ceratosaurus. In a world ruled by Allosaurus, direct confrontation was a losing strategy. As our predator hierarchy graphic illustrates, Allosaurus was the lion of the Morrison, larger, more powerful, and far more numerous in the fossil record. Ceratosaurus was the leopard, a solitary, opportunistic hunter living in the margins. So, what was on its menu? The fossil evidence, combined with its slasher dentition, points away from the giant sauropods. Its prey was likely the more abundant, smaller herbivores. We can picture it stalking the edges of the floodplain, a prime hunting ground for agile ornithopods like Dryosaurus and Camptosaurus. Its lower profile and grasping arms, which we analyzed in Part 4, would have been lethal advantages in an ambush, allowing it to hold these struggling victims as its blade-like teeth did their work. Paleontologists also theorize it was a specialist in hunting aquatic prey, fish, crocodiles, and turtles that congregated in the seasonal rivers, a niche the larger Allosaurus might have ignored. Its primary enemy was not a creature that actively hunted it, but the constant, looming threat of its dominant competitor. Every kill was a risk, a potential invitation for a larger, stronger predator to steal its meal. This is a classic example of niche partitioning. Ceratosaurus survived not by being the strongest, but by being different, by hunting the prey and stalking the habitats, like dense forests or riverbanks, that the apex predator overlooked. Its entire existence was a balancing act, a life spent in the shadow of a giant. For decades, the image of Ceratosaurus has been defined by a single, aggressive idea: that it used its nasal horn as a goring weapon, a battering ram in combat. This is one of the great myths of paleontology, an assumption based on its fearsome appearance. But the fossil record, as we've seen, tells a different story. Our anatomical deconstruction in Part 4 showed the bone core was thin and fragile. Ramming it into a struggling Stegosaurus or a rival carnivore would have been catastrophic for the horn, not the target. So, what was its true purpose? The evidence points not to combat, but to communication. The horn was not a weapon. It was a billboard. As our 3D life reconstruction demonstrates, in life, this bony core would have been sheathed in a layer of keratin, making it significantly larger and likely vibrantly colored. This was a display structure. This completely changes our perspective. This weapon was almost certainly used for intraspecific signaling, that is, communicating with other ceratosaurs. It was a tool for species recognition, a clear visual marker in a crowded ecosystem. More importantly, it was likely a sign of sexual maturity and health, a sophisticated visual cue used to intimidate rivals, or, more likely, to attract a mate. Like the crest of a modern cassowary, it was a piece of biological artwork, a signal of fitness. This debunks the myth of a brutish brawler and replaces it with a far more interesting reality, a creature of complex visual display. The Ceratosaurus was not an apex predator, but it was a master of survival. Its legacy is one of specialization. While Allosaurus ruled through brute force, Ceratosaurus thrived in the gaps, a perfectly adapted mid-sized hunter. It's a powerful lesson in evolution. Success doesn't always mean being the biggest. It means being the most specialized. From its blade-like slasher teeth to the revelation of its horn as a sophisticated display structure rather than a crude weapon, Ceratosaurus stands as one of the most unique and successful carnivores of the Jurassic. What feature of the Ceratosaurus impresses you the most? Comment below with the dinosaur you want us to create a dossier for next. And don't forget to like and subscribe to join our journey back to the lost world.